Okay, here we are back again. Topic number 3, moving beyond price focus. And this is really where the magic happens. So let me put myself in the top corner and we'll get underway. So stages of relationship development. There are 5 stages, and this was developed first by the Industrial Marketing and Purchasing Group. So very much in the business to business space, okay? So we start off at the first stage as complementary needs. So the two customers recognize that they depend on each other for resources, the resources that each other is lacking. So what do I mean by that? If you're my customer and I have product A, you need product A, so I've got what you need. What do I need? You've got the money that I need to build my business and hit my budget. So two resources in exchange. So this is the most transactional stage, right? So it's just exchanging money for goods or services. Interaction, so repeated personal contacts, and we listed a lot of those out in a previous topic, didn't we, in this course? Repeated personal contacts and exchanges will help build the relationship. So that plays to the idea of why a call cycle is important, why a regular newsletter, why some other contact points are important to keep that moving. And repeated personal contact and exchanges eventually lead to mutually beneficial outcomes and satisfaction. So as you talk together, meet each other, communicate, you as the seller start to realize how can you solve their problems in better and better and better ways. And that moves to a point where we're not just exchanging dollars for product, we're actually helping them to achieve outcomes and they're becoming very satisfied with the relationship. Then we move on a little bit more from that, and companies become dedicated to each other, and their willingness to invest in a reciprocal act of both customers. So you'll see that customers are then prepared to buy larger and larger amounts. They're prepared to sign agreements, supply agreements. You'll see that supply companies then are prepared to hold more stock. Are prepared to do a range of, maybe do some extra tailoring of a particular product or service for that individual customer based on the investment of, yes, we will use you for the next 12 months exclusively, or those types of things. And then you've got commitment, where reciprocal investments perpetuate the trust-based relationship building process. So they're really strongly committed to each other, and that's what you're going to see in the partnership or more synergistic supply relationship. So that's not a bad way to do it, a bit academic in some ways, but quite good for us to think, well, where am I at with my customers? Am I just at complementary needs, interactions, outcomes and satisfactions, investments, or commitment? And equally, if you know where you're at, then you know what it looks like to develop the relationship one step further. Yeah. So this fits in nicely with what we just looked at before, with the customer's perception of the relationship. They're either focused on the price, focused on the service, or focused on a partnership style arrangement. So the stages of development fit in neatly with that, and now there's some that sort of cross the boundaries. So complementary needs, and then interactions can move it up into the more service style relationship. Outcomes and established satisfaction is moving us up right to the beginning of the partnership style arrangement, where they start to invest more, and ultimately there's ongoing commitment from each other into that partnership moving forward. So if you thought, what's my running track to move from price focus to partnership? Well, there's some things that you can do. There's the 5 stages. Later on in this presentation, I'm going to give you some goals that you could look towards achieving in each of those 5 stages. And there's a downloadable doc in this course as well that will give you even some fine detail strategies to match with the goals that match with each of the 5 stages. And I do that because even though they're sort of more broadly speaking, what that can do is start to jog your creative process to think, what can I do with each of my customers to take them on and take them forward? Key account management relationship activities developed by Millman and Wilson. So they took this one step further. So customer account management, that was their term. Key account management, that was their term. We've already discussed this. So pre-CAM, so pre-customer account, key account management, there's no real relationship, we're just transacting. Early in the key account management process, we're exploring the potential for a relationship. Midway through, we're developing stronger links, but we're pre-partnership. Partnership, we're developing inter-organizational links, right? So you're dealing with multiple people within that organization. And synergistic key account management, it's so close that it's hard to see the boundaries between customer and organizational selling team. Sometimes you can see this, particularly in larger organizations that partner together. The supply company will actually have personnel on site in the customer's premises. The wages are paid by the supplier, but there's so much going on in terms of the use of that product or service that the customer representative is actually there full time in that client's premises. That's interesting. So if we take that process again, where we looked at the price focus, service focus, partnership focus, broke it up in terms of its 5 stages of developing the relationship, then we can look at where does this pre-CAM, early CAM, mid-CAM, the activities that you do as a salesperson to move through the stages of development. So if we look at one scale, level of involvement between low involvement with the customer up to high involvement with the customer, and nature of the relationship, starting at transactional, which is obviously price focused, and moving through to being very collaborative, which is the partnership end of it, and representative of the divvy up in the middle there. So we are pre-key account management when we're just starting out, and things will be focused on getting price, because people start by saying, let's get some quotes from a few suppliers on that. So they're very much focused on what's it going to cost us to do this. Then we're into early customer account management, lots of interactions going on. Key account management, lots of interactions going on. We're trying to validate the opportunities for building a long-term lasting relationship. Midway through, or mid-key account management, we're starting to see those outcomes of satisfaction come through because of all the interactions that we've had, and we're finding better and better ways of serving that client. Then we're into partnership key account management, where both sides are investing in that relationship. And finally, we're into synergistic key account management, where there's great commitment from both sides. So you can see these models starting to come together. And look, I don't want to get too academic about this, but if we just left it at price focused, service focused, or partnership focused on the client's behalf, what are we going to do? How do we move them through? So the reasoning was to then say, well, let's look at a model around stages of relationship development. Now, it's no point trying to go from there to there if you're not going to do the middle one, the one in the middle. So for you as a salesperson or business owner, you start to think, well, where am I on the stages of development? What's my next stage of development? Okay, how do I move from one to the other? And this is then into our key account management activities, which I'm going to show you some goals for right now. So if you're in pre-key account management, some of the objectives you could be pursuing would be identify it as a key account. Is this even worthwhile being a key account? Now, how would you do that? Well, you could look at potential spend, would be one thing. If they've got a large potential spend and you're only getting a small portion of that, hey, this might be worthwhile seeing whether or not we can develop them through from our early price-focused process and develop them through into a service-orientated or partnership-orientated key account for us. Establish the account potential, which I just talked about, and obviously get the first sale, secure the initial order. Early, we're going to do an account presentation, increase the volume of the business, and try to become the preferred supplier. And we're wanting to build on towards partnership as we're going through the mid key account management, become first tier or single source supplier. So get 100% of supply from us is where you want to go. Establishing key account status, which is saying, hey, they now are a key account. Before that, we were exploring potential and try and get evidence that and move it forward to the point where they could be classed as a key account. If limited to potential for development, then evolve a standing offer. So that would then go back to being more sort of transactional, but you're trying to sort of lock that in by some sort of agreement standing offer. The next two then, for partnership key account management and synergistic key account management, develop the spirit of a partnership. So that would be around having meetings with the key people and talking about that concept of let's take more of an intense relationship, more of a partnering relationship, so that we can serve you in the best possible ways, and mapping out and doing a planning session with the client of what that's got to look like. Lock in customer by providing external resource base, so you're starting to get commitments from them by providing extra resources to be able to support them. Continuous improvement, shared rewards, and quasi-integration. So that's where, for example, I gave the high-end example of a personnel being stationed at the customer's premises. The other one was the example I gave in the timber industry of this person calling through every Monday morning, getting into the computer, reviewing the manufacture log for the week ahead, comparing that with the stock take of the yard, producing a pick list to suggest that's what we need to order, sitting down with the head of manufacturing, getting that signed off, then going and making that happen and having it all delivered by lunch. That's not quite an employee on the premises, but it is important. And they would go through, and on busy times they'd go through and do that more than one morning a week as well, by the way. So there's some of the goals. Now listen, there's a downloadable doc below this where you can see then some of the strategies that you could apply to that. Are they going to be strategies that exactly fit and match with your business and your customers right now? Probably not, but what you can do is take the indications and use that for your creative process to form up the strategies you're going to use and tactics you're going to use with your customers. There it is, read the article below. Well, thank you. That brings us now to the end of the relationship nurturing part of this program. I think you'll find the documents to read fantastic. What we're doing next is we're looking at how to build a brick wall, and there's a fantastic Excel tool that I'm going to walk you through that you can also download as part of this program and start using it in your business. Okay, we will see you on the next course. Bye for now.